we started with five student workers, and that's what I call them, student workers. Once we started with them, as the weeks have progressed, more kids and more parents started to reach out to me. That's in the Northwest area, say, "Hey, I would love to get my kids into it." And I think that one of the things talking about building community and doing different initiatives within the community, that was something that, as far as cleaning up, is something that in Baltimore City everybody can relate to. Pardon me. And it was an opportunity, not only, of course, picking up trash, but also giving a positive opportunity for a lot of these kids that may be struggling with certain issues or certain things at the time, especially dealing with this COVID, where things are being shut down and rec centers are being closed and this and that. So this gave them an opportunity to actually earn a couple of dollars and be able to really, eventually do whatever. And I tell you honestly, a lot of the kids have been actually exercising their financial literacy and so forth, as far as saving up money and this and that. But from that point, when we had first started, like I mentioned, we have about five student workers, and now we have a total of 25 student workers. And like I said, we're pretty much in around the 40th week. We've been off for a couple of weeks because of the weather, but other than that, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and especially once the weather breaks, we'll start getting back out in the community, as far as start picking up trash. And we actually usually navigate around several communities over in the northwest side of Baltimore City, at least about 2.5 to 3 miles of walking that we do. Um, excuse me. And they love it. These kids really enjoy, as far as taking doing their part, as far as making this section of Baltimore City a much cleaner, safer, and more healthier environment. I have great set of volunteers, adult volunteers, that assist me in this activity. One starting with my wife Tamara, and then with one of the other, a couple of other adult volunteers, who actually, one has two kids with us, Derek, and then another adult volunteer that's over in the Mount Washington community, Andre, as well as my good old friend for over 30 to 35 years, Cottrell Decatur. But overall, not only we walk around and pick up trash, and like I said, and help out a lot of people within the community. We also do, from this work, we also have the opportunity to mentor a lot of these kids, because all of these kids come from different backgrounds, and they have different interpretations, whether being coming from the police, or coming from just even from people from the community and so forth. We have a great relationship and partnership with the Baltimore City Police Department, particularly, like I said, over in this Northwest area, with our current Major Brickus and her team. So to me, it's a win-win situation. Even though these kids have come from different backgrounds and different neighborhoods, everybody has worked well tremendously. I haven't had one issue of anybody of any sort. Everybody, we worked for 3 hours, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Everybody gets here on time. They know that once we start working, you can't come late. You got to come on time. You got to be ready to go. I provide them trash bags and trash pickers, and gloves and so forth, and of course water and or Gatorade, and they're ready to go. They get paid $10 an hour, so they walk away with $30 cash. And I do have a small group of captains that they get paid an extra $10, and they're the ones that's been with me from the very beginning, and also show extreme leadership, as far as assisting me with this program. So like I said, I mean, it's a win-win situation, but it's all about, it's a small part of building the communities, particularly starting with this youth. And I'm only doing a small piece. I'm not the only one. We have a lot of other great people in Baltimore City that's doing wonderful work within the community, from Ceasefire, and from Core Health Institute and so forth. And a band of brothers. So it's a lot of people that's doing some great work here in Baltimore City.
Wow, wow, wonderful. Yes, I knew some of them. I didn't know all the details, so thank you for sharing. But yeah, let us go to Mimi now. Mimi, would you like to introduce yourself and a little bit of your story and the topic that we talked about today for the young titans for the health?
Yes, absolutely. And it is such an honor. Thank you again for inviting me. This is something that is just like near and dear to my heart. I was always one that was a part of the team, not necessarily the leader of the team. And so, just in my experiences, what I've learned, I can say for sure, is that to be a great leader, you learn to be a great servant, and you learn that service is definitely something that kind of brings and helps the community. Like everyone has their part in that community. And so I was one that would every year like come up with this different word like this is my word of the year, instead of doing like resolutions. And so community just stuck. Like that was my 2020 word of the year. And we all know 2020 showed us something that we were not expecting. And I started what I thought would be like monthly kind of get togethers and, just kind of bringing people that I knew, and then they could bring people that they knew. And we just all kind of come together and just, whether it's just fellowshipping or just meeting, and not necessarily that someone may need something, but if someone did need something, we can just start to create this community. And, you know, our pandemic happened, and I was like, okay, well, that was great for a couple of months. What else can we do? And just to kind of step back a little bit, before I go into the community that I created, is um, when I began with my skincare and glamour business, and now transitioning into the health and wellness. Um, it was through those processes that I learned that um, being a teacher is a way that you're serving, teaching people how to take care of their skin, how to get ahead of their health and wellness, things of that nature. Those were things that, started to shift my mind and, be more in the front of things and take more of that leadership role. And also the company that I was with for about 7, 8 years before transitioning into the health and wellness, was big on community, was big on, helping and, doing whatever you can for the next person. They even had like their own charitable foundation. And, that led to my team and I being a part of several different campaigns. So we would work with Hero Box. And basically what that was is we would send sunscreen to them, and they would make these goodie bags and they would ship them, or boxes, and they would ship them to the troops that were overseas. We did that for several years, actually up until 2020. Um, and then we worked with nursing homes. So whether it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, not just the holidays, like we would just go into the nursing homes and, give little gifts and just visit with the residents that are there, because some of them may have family that come and visit, and a lot of them maybe not so much. But I just remember having two grandparents that unfortunately had to have care, long-term care, in nursing homes. And I remember our family, just going to visit, and we always had like extra things, either whether it's for my grandparents' roommates or just the staff, just to kind of help them feel good. And those are just things that always stuck with me. So anything where there's a chance where I can give back, I always, always, always try to be a part of that as best I can. And so the other thing that we really did, we had a few of our consultants, as well as some of their family members, suffer through breast cancer and having to go through treatment. And so we started a campaign on on operation, it was Chemo Care. So basically we came up with these care packages. And again, we couldn't necessarily visit in that instance with the patients, but we could at least have a nice package, write an uplifting note, have that in there. And UNEX has always, been a sponsor of the different campaigns. So I definitely appreciate that. But it was just something that we could do to give back. So fast forward, I am in, my position as a consultant for about 7, 8 years, and the probably the latter part, I was in the higher part of leadership, where I was teaching people how to teach. I was helping them have successful businesses, and I just noticed how that was just something of service where I can help them, especially someone that really didn't have a background in these things specifically, but something that I've learned. And so, we just started to really just work together, come together, just see what we could do in whatever capacity to help the community. And, again, I just thought 2020, I was going to have these events where I can bring all these people together. We can meet, I even started a group where there's basically like a pinned post, and this is on Facebook, and it has like everyone's background. And, so if someone goes into the group and they're looking for life insurance, or they're looking for health and wellness, or whatever it is, like there's going to be someone that they could pretty much like go to. And again, the pandemic. And then I just started to really think about it. I'm like, it's not anything that's limiting, so to speak, as far as not being able to get each other together physically, but it's opening up more, and the ability to do more, being online, being on social media. I had a pretty good presence on social media, but nothing to the extent now, because of course this is where we're like forced to be at this time. Everyone is there, and you just kind of had to like catch up with it if you weren't a part of the social media wave. And so I just love that it's allowed me to reach more people. Once that clicked, I'm like, okay, there are people in states and even other countries I would not have ever met if not for social media and different groups and things of that nature. So, you think community is going to be immediate, it's going to be like the people that you're around. When you have that, especially now with social media, you have that reach, that it can go nationwide and, worldwide, where you just would not have met certain people, and you can come together and pool your resources and just be a community and a support. So that group is the All Things Classy, Culture, and Chic. And I'm just like really proud of the group, because again, there are women and men that I never would have met had I not had that platform, and we can all come together and be a support. So that is it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, first of all, I would uh, ask everybody or anybody who's watching, put some comments or questions that you may have on community building. These are have actually built a community. So I would say I will open it to the people in the platform. So Glenn, Dr. Hilda, Ron, if you have anything to ask, we can get started with that.
Sheikh Halida, can I take the floor a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, very impressive presentation. I feel so excited when I listen to all these things. And, from Mimi's presentation, few words I picked up which touched my heart. One is that seeing or discovering the potential of people. That's from our other friend. I mean, you can see the potential of students, and then you make the student worker and all these things. So this is something to learn and then apply in your own platform, on your own life, on place of work. That's very thing. Another thing that I saw from Mimi is the feeling of benevolence. Do what you can do for others. That is the theme. That is the core of your encouragement and your platform, and what you have discovered and what you have planned, and the campaign itself. And what impressed me as well, the uplifting note when you sent to the chemo people, for the chemo preparation and chemo package. that was very learning to me and very exciting to me. And I think in population where we have more people that need help, either they are elderly or they are in some other way disposed, indisposed, and thinking of their health, thinking of their wellness, thinking of their mental condition, and how you uplift all of those things, how you support those things. I think these are something to learn from the two examples that we heard. And my sincere congratulations, and I'm so impressed. I mean, I have done in my life many of those things, but this is very unique, and this is at a different level. And I'm very impressed, and my congratulations to both of you, both Mimi and my other friend. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sheikh. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, that's wonderful. Yeah. Anybody else want to go ahead? There's some kind of, okay, the echo is gone. Yeah. Anybody wants to ask any question or anything? Bring up until we get any live questions.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you to both of you for sharing today. It's truly an example of servant leadership, which we had a great talk on servant leadership latter part of last year or very early. I think it was the latter part of last year, maybe the last session of last year, that maybe all the young Titans might want to go back and review. But it really touched my heart as you were talking about the packages you put together for the troops. And, you know, it's so unfortunate that people don't show gratitude to our members of the armed services. These guys and gals risk their lives, and they're so underappreciated, as are our men and women in blue that are protecting our streets day in and day out. They're putting their lives on the line every day they go to work. And then our members of the armed services, you know, oftentimes they don't even sleep without the fear of possibly being in harm's way. So thank you. Quite an inspiration, and should be a good example for our young Titans to look at. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Questions for Sean, for you, and also for Mimi, especially if you guys are here for the platform to, show some examples and show the young Titans, the young professionals, that how it can help others. There's some kind of programming. Okay, no. Just a question is that, okay, how this community building or what you are doing, it is appreciated by everybody, and I see I in front of my eyes also that what you do, Mimi, for and I was able to contribute a couple times here and there, not as much as I'd like to, but how?
Sheikh, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we can barely hear you. You've got so much replay or something, feedback, and it seems to be mostly coming from you.
Let me mute if I can, if you guys can get that. Okay, somehow it was gone. I think, yeah, if we mute, if all of you mute, it works better. And when you talk, of course, you have to unmute. That's the COVID time learnings that we have in our bucket, in our belt. So that's a COVID degree. I was just asking that as young Titans, young professions, Sean, Mimi, what would you tell them with your experience? How is it helping? How would it help them, to know what they need to do as young professions or young workforce, or graduating from school or in the workforce for 2-3 years and they want to change their career or any of those? This community building, the skills that you honed in last few years, and you guys did awesome job in completely separate different career path and everything. But Would you like to give something that how will it help the young professionals, young titans that, okay, they need to build also, not necessarily all our crowd or all our audience, they are a business owners or they need followers or anything like that, but still we know with our experience now that how valuable it is to understand that community building, team building, and have that support or followers or be part of something, you know. But from your experience, can you explain that to these young folks, why it's important and how do they do that? Sean, maybe you wanna start?
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say ladies first. So yeah. Um yeah, I tell you to be honest, it's just that it took me a while to really, find out exactly what my purpose as far as my career and what I really wanted to get into. When I initially graduated from college, my major was sports management with a concentration in journalism, and I had a minor in business management. And I had gone into sort of the field of the sports journalism track, and I've done that for a number of years for different organizations. As far as a beat writer, covering the Ravens and some other things, and then also at a radio station, WNST 1570. So it took time and really to find my niche and far as find something that I truly love to do. From that point, and I think that that's when I had probably so many jobs, throughout the years, until I think that it started to really uh, um, I started to go into sort of the path where I really needed to go by a freak injury. I tore my Achilles, and when I tore my Achilles, it kind of got me into teaching on the collegiate level. And then when I started teaching, I started kind of getting back into, because I've always been raised as far as doing a lot of community work, as far as watching my parents or grandparents and so forth. But excuse me. Once I started, when I started teaching college and really started to get back to not only just giving back, but I was also engaged with a lot of student athletes. And particularly when you're coming from Baltimore City, everybody's coming from a different background, and they have a different story. And they have a story that a lot of times us adults don't have or don't give the opportunity to actually listen to their stories. We always like to tell people what you should be doing, but we actually don't sit back and actually listen and really help them, guide them as far as on what they need. And we assume that we know what they need. And from that point, I think it kind of took off, because I can comfortably say a lot of my student athletes, they ended up becoming either great people within the community, great fathers, just by them seeing me and how I interacted with my family, and or just graduating from college, whether being getting their 2-year degree or 4-year degree. And I always told them I never, I would never turn my back. And they've always have contacted me even to this day. And they've been off the court for, 10, 15 years. And they still call me up for a handout or, a helping hand or a reference and so forth. But I think that once you find a career path or find something that you truly love to do, to me, the word work is no longer work. You just get up and just, do what you love to do. And I think that's where I think that's it's been very, very successful. And as far as, my commitment as far as working in the community and doing the things what I do, either professionally or voluntarily.
Wonderful. Sean, I do have a question that came in from Sarah Matthews. Sean, do you have to address older adults who are aging in place to prevent drug dealers from hiding the drugs in their yards? Okay, that's a strong question for.
Right, 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 right. Yeah. Of course, Miss Sarah is a great friend. She's she's a wonderful person, and I love her, and she and the community loves Miss Sarah. But yeah, but that's one of my positions as president of Northwest District Community Relations Council, I stay very close as far as learning and finding out solutions as far as dealing with issues like Miss Sarah addressed, because a lot of our communities, as far as in Baltimore City, they're older communities. So we have those bad actors. We have those individuals that pry and take advantage of, these older residents and try to get away with different certain things. But but overall, I think people my age and under, that the millennials and the Generation X and so forth, we don't do enough to really appreciate and really support our seniors, because they are the ones, our seniors and women, overall, they're the ones that have maintained the stability of our neighborhoods. And we, especially even men, have to really start doing a lot more. But it's I can't really offer one particular, answer for that, but it's all about, as far as it's the first step is really getting engaged and finding out as far as the things that we need to do in order to support and support our senior community a lot better than what we've had, and really provide a lot of resources so we can really start taking care of them as well as they've taken care of us throughout the years.
Absolutely. The same question for Mimi. What do you think these young folks, why this building community and this leadership is important, and how would they do that? If you can imagine at their stage, right after college, or they're new in their profession.
Yes. It's just so interesting because it's allowing me to reflect back about, I don't know, 18, 19 years ago when I was in college. Um, but I would definitely say the things that helped was, one, just to keep an open mind. So similar to Sean, my undergrad was in public administration with a concentration in financial management. I really thought I was going to be a part of, a city office and work in the accounting department and help with the budgeting. Like that was like what my goal was in that degree. And then fast forward, I got my graduate degree, and I kind of knew then, after a few internships, that that wasn't the path that I wanted to take. But I had the somewhat of a business with the concentration in financial management to kind of fall back on. So then my graduate degree was in organizational management, and again, I thought it was going to be human resources, kind of making a difference there, and had no idea I would bring both of those into my own business. So, and it took me being open to consulting, teaching skincare and glamour, things of that nature, self-confidence, like all of those things. It took those bits and pieces of what I've learned and from my degree and bringing that into my own business. Had no idea. That was never the goal, to have my own business. So I think just not being so rigid and just being able to take the skills that you have, any opportunities that you have for internships, for paid or non-paid, because some of mine were not paid. But I knew for sure, like, this is not what I wanted to do, or no, this is where I wanted to go more so than, the initial. So I think just not being so rigid, just being open. If you have opportunity to volunteer in a certain field that you're interested in, and just do it. Like I remembered tutoring, because I was thinking about going into the teaching field, adults for the GED. And I did that for a little bit of time. So I would just, do and try certain things that is of interest to you. And especially if it's like short term, so then you can decide if, okay, this is where I want to go, or no, let me try something else or go at a different angle. So that would be my advice.
Wonderful. And there's another question that came for Brother Sean from.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see the couple of questions. Yeah, I was just about to respond. First of all, I definitely love this. If I can say good morning and hello to my good friend Bill Gooden. It's a great brother, great advocate as far as in the community. and definitely learned a lot from him. But I do see Everett's question, and if I may, Everett, I'll give you my cell number, my contact number, because I didn't see if a way that I can put it in the comments. It's 443 642 0671. And I would like to maybe have a conversation with you. And what you're looking for could be an opportunity that I can share some information with you in regards to our Baltimore main streets. We do have within the main streets, we do have some vacant storefronts, and maybe that could be somewhere where we actually can start a culture center there in one of the so far the 8 designated main streets that's in the city. If not, then we can kind of go beyond there and start looking for some other areas. But I would love to have an offline conversation with you with a little bit more to see exactly what your particulars and what you're looking for. But I appreciate your question, and like I said, Bill Shake, he definitely would love to have Bill Gooden. He's definitely a great resource of information and so forth, and he's a great individual.
Yes, yes, no, absolutely. And this is, and I'm hoping this platform is also helping. But of course, at the same time, any young people who was helping you, or they need some kind of mentorship or guidance and all those, they are definitely welcome to take advantage of this platform, because we have some plenty of help and volunteers coming in on a regular basis to try to help and show them what can be done, and the different stories from different backgrounds. So that definitely is absolutely a possibility. And yes, any of the friends or anybody that you have who want to plug in, or be part of or with us, or do any work with us, anything like that is a possibility. But we are so glad that you as a leader taking charge in Baltimore City and doing so many things. And I see that once in a while on your social post and everything. So that's absolutely something, really a gorgeous work, I can say. And Mimi, of course, I see the same thing. But I would think, as you said, more and more young people to be following some of these, initiatives, so they can be part of it, and they grow this sense of urgency, sense of understanding of taking care of the community and community people or elders or whoever around them. Anyway, again, to Glenn or anybody else, Ron, are you able?
Yes, I had a question, and I'd like to ask Mimi. Look, we haven't heard from Mimi with that big smile that just makes me happy. We've got young titans, Gen Z, which they're all about community and helping others. And so I look at it from a little bit different perspective. We've given them some ideas of ways that they can contribute to the community and helping others. But I think that from your own experience, you could probably add some wisdom there that may help them along the way. Here, you're both involved with the community. You've got careers, and then you have your personal life. And so when you're so passionate about something, and especially in your case, Sean, and we'll let you comment after Mimi, of where yours just bleeds right over the everyday work into your community work, how do you separate your personal life from something that you're so passionate with? Because these young titans are going to get out of school and they may be involved with community, but not something they can monetize. They've got to make a living, but you can get so caught up in giving that you don't take care of yourself. Is that possibly a problem?
Oh, absolutely. And something that I definitely had to learn. And if I could pass this on, do whatever you can to balance that out, because too much of anything is not good for you, right? And yes, sometimes in doing good, it could be like too much where you sacrifice yourself or your family, or what has become important. And so it's something that I had to learn. It was oftentimes people that were closest to me that had to say, we have this going on, and I'm always like pulling from them, saying, this is what I'm doing. This is, how I'm helping and things of that nature. But it could be something as simple as a Sunday family get together and not like being rushed or thinking about what's next, just being present in that circumstance, that situation with your family, your friends, and just knowing that, yes, giving back is great, the community is great, but life is about a lot of things. And our family and our friends, they're a part of our community. It's not just the people that are outside of that. They're a part of that community, and they want to see you successful and they want to see you do well, but also they want your time, and they want your attention and for you to be present. And so don't learn it the hard way like me. Definitely, just try to keep that in mind at the same time, and don't use either as an excuse, because it can work both ways. You can get caught up in the work and the giving back, and that's an excuse, and you can get caught up in your family and friends and kind of use that as an excuse. But you learn to be present in what you are doing, whether it's family time, work time, community time, personal time, just learning to be present and understanding the value of that and how that's going to make you better. So,
You mentioned something there that is a lesson I'm constantly trying to relearn, being present. And I think that may be even more difficult for Gen Z, because they're so accustomed to multitasking. They're doing so many different things at one time, and which those of my era, I don't think there's any such thing as multitasking. I call it multi-mistaking. In fact, I even have the domain name. I haven't done anything with it, but my little brain won't allow me to do but one thing at a time. But put ourselves in the role of Gen Z, which they were brought up with these things from the time they could remember, our first generation. So probably by the time they were 10 years old, they had smartphones or were using one. So it's even more difficult for them to be present, especially with someone, family members, or a significant other. So what words of wisdom do you have for them there? I'm notorious for, in the days when we used to get a newspaper, and I don't get one anymore, but I miss the smell of that print in the morning, that and the aroma of coffee. That just was the way to start my day. And it was my standard routine, especially when I was traveling. And I used to travel a lot. And I had a lot of places that I stayed at regularly, many of them up around Maryland and Virginia too. But what words of wisdom do you have for them about being present, how to be present, Mimi? And then we'll get to you, Sean.
It's just something that you have to try and do. I myself have gotten caught up in the electronic, and because everyone's on social media, I feel like I'm being a part of, and so I can definitely relate to that feeling, and losing connection feeling by not having that connection to your phone or your social media platforms. And I have nephews and a niece, and oh my gosh, I see this from them where I have to literally, stop talking, because they're talking to me and they're on their devices, and I'll just stop talking. And then it kind of gets their attention. They're like, I'm listening. I'm like, no, you're not listening. I need you to like put that down and let's have, this conversation. So for me, I had to do the same thing, because I found myself, even with my mom, she'll be talking to me, and I'm replying to a text, or I'm trying to catch up on email, and I could tell like the conversation just kind of like not moving forward as it should be. So just kind of like in my mind, I was like, okay, let me just kind of like put this aside and give her the attention that I need. But it's just the only thing that I can say is just you have to do it and try it and see, because you don't know the difference. Like you said, starting from, 10 plus years, you're connected to these devices. If you just like, even just going a night or a few hours just without anything and see the difference that it'll make in the connection. It might be different. It might not be anything that you're used to feeling, but you'll feel like more connected, and you'll understand like why, those of us that are of different generations appreciate that discipline and just being able to be present. So
It's going to be interesting. I'm involved with a group that works with, well, now Gen Z as well as the millennials, and showing them the possibilities in life. And it provides mentors, kind of like what Shake is doing here. It's called the Inspire Weekend, which is a weekend retreat. And this will be the first year, really, of us having Gen Z present. And originally, when we were setting this thing up, which I had the pleasure of being involved at the very beginning, although it was not my idea, it's another dear friend of mine's idea. But the whole concept was that we wanted their undivided attention. And so the whole idea was we were going to have them drop these in a basket when they arrived with their name on it, and we would give them back to them. And we had a psychologist said, you don't want to do that. They are so accustomed to having it. It's a security. You can ask them to turn it off and then say, okay, it's break time. You can turn your phones back on. And that has worked. But I wonder with Gen Z this year, assuming we're able to go forward with COVID, how it's going to work with Gen Z. So, Sean, let's tell us what your thoughts are on balancing your time, and then also some of the things we talked about being present.
Right. Real quick, I had to laugh at Everett's comments that he still feels the newspaper, but he uses it when he eats his crabs. So so I know you probably read the newspaper, but he's putting some crabs on, which is, where Baltimore is definitely famous for their crabs. But anyway, what I did was, and actually sort of Kimberly Ellis, kind of stole my thunder, as far as, yeah, I engage my family into a lot of the activities that I've been doing throughout the year. So it's like we're always together, and they've always been engaged as far as different community initiatives that I've been a part of. And to me, it's worked. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I do sometimes kind of sit back and reflect and say, well, I wish I would have done this and wish I would have done that or stayed home to do this. But we have small things that we actually, step away from the community aspect of everything when we go in the house, and, we either, play some Uno together, or we have some favorite shows, which we love, all the favorite cooking shows like Hell's Kitchen, and we're Gordon Ramsay fans in this house, or Guy Fieri, Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, and stuff like that. And so that's we try to take advantage of the little things like that. And I don't know about Mimi's family. My family, we love to eat. So when we'll take a trip down to, the Eastern Shore, right over the bridge, and get some food and congregate that way. But yeah, but that's the one special thing, because I think that even though it may a lot of time may be taken away as far as just actually physically being in the house, and I think that sometimes we I guess we kind of lose sense of, we may say, well, being with the family, we have to be inside the house. But no, you can always pull your family out and do a lot of things on the outside together at the same time you're doing your community work and so forth. And I think that it's been, really beneficial, or really, rewarding when I have done it that way. And that's where a lot of people, like Miss Sarah and so forth, or if, my girls look up to her with tremendous love and respect and so forth. And that's somebody that initially we met in the community and so forth. But yeah, it's just, and we go around, and like I said, when we love to eat, we go around different restaurants like Kimberly Ellis and Breaking Bread and so forth, and a lot of these businesses and support, because when we have a place that we find that we have love and good food, especially when you talk about crabs, hey, we take advantage of that and we love it. And I know they love us as well and love the support. So that's how we find other ways to kind of bridge, those gaps, so to speak, and really come together as family. And even with our extended families, come together and actually do different things. Because I think that, I spent so much time when my daughters were at the Mount Washington School, that when they were changed in leadership with principal, a lot of the kids wanted them to offer me the job as principal, because I'd done so much as far as with the school. You know what I mean? And that was rewarding. It's just, we've done a lot of things, a lot of great things in those years. But like I said, we have all had looked at each other as family. So that's where it kind of make it a lot easier, because a lot of their friends, this our wherever our house was, it was more a safe haven for them, and just brought them in because they knew what kind of family that they saw us from the outside, how we were. And like I said, that to me, that's how you do it. That's at least one of the ways how you do things.
Super. You really brought back memories talking about, and when I believe Everett mentioned eating crabs on the newspaper, brings back fond memories. I used to get up to Southern Maryland a lot. The little village of Benedict, right there, I believe, on the Patuxent River. I've had a lot of crabs there. In fact, I had my first crab sandwich there. Soft shell crab sandwich there.
They're the
Absolutely.
best.
Oh,
They're
makes me hungry right now. And of course there's a beverage that goes real well with crab too. Makes me hungry and thirsty. Dr. Helena,
exactly.
you always amaze me. I say you're the lady with more degrees than books I have read. What you've had to do a lot of balancing over the years with getting all those degrees, and that you do community service as well as all the other work. What are your words of wisdom for the young Titans?
I think the word of wisdom will be to, as I was commenting today, is the find your opportunity. Find your opportunity where you can make a difference, no matter how small, how big. And we have been talking about, the grandmother and the senior people in a home or in your school. So I think the message that I would like to communicate is that how can you make yourself a valuable person, a useful person, and serve others? That should be the inner wishes and inner intention. And if you look at with that lens, you will find a lot of opportunity to do that. Just to set an example, I keep on thinking newer things. I'm in a platform like this with a group of bankers. Somehow I come across. So I have been encouraging them to open small outlets for elderly people, for the senior people, but at the same time have it for the adolescents or younger people, so that the younger people can escort their grandmother or grandfather. At the same time, they have their own platform to communicate. And that could be a unique thing in Bangladesh. This is Bangladesh. I come from Bangladesh. And they like the idea. This is a wellness thing, but at the same time, you do something that supports each other. For an elderly woman, take a rickshaw and come to that place will be so difficult. But if you have a younger grandson or granddaughter that she is willing to bring you to that place for the wellness, that will be establishing a relationship between the two generations, and at the same time having the wellness. So these kind of things. Let me give you one more example. I was running a large project in Bangladesh, a health project, and we realized that the poor women does not have enough cash in their hand to go to a clinic and have a clinic facility delivery. And they say, they don't even have money to go for antenatal checkup because they need a rickshaw fare or a other fare. So what I gave them, I created a piggy bank with plastic, talked to the plastic company and created and manufactured a lot of plastic piggy bank and gave them during their first trimester or second, whenever they come, and save some money for your pregnancy care. And that inspired the whole family. The baby became valuable. The pregnancy became valuable. The woman is empowered because she had money in her hand, and the whole family would keep money. And with that money, she would come to the clinic when her labor pain starts. She said, okay, deliver me, do your best. So some of these are very small thing, but this is a big thing. I call it a life-saving intervention. How could a piggy bank be a life-saving intervention? So some of these examples are my life examples, and I have seen it. And then government has taken that intervention, put it in the government operational plan and government program. So some of those things, so this is finding opportunity which is culturally appropriate or conditionally appropriate and the best need of that person and fulfills the best need of that person. So
Thank you, Dr. Halida. I love what Bill Gooden said there, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Your passion has to drive your purpose. Mimi, what's your thought on that? Passion driving your purpose.
Oh my gosh. That when I saw that come across the stream, I was like, that is so true. That is so true, because if it's something that you're passionate about, you don't have to think twice about it. It's something that just naturally you can speak about, you can share, you can just do willingly. Think about a job that you really don't want to do. Like sometimes we save the thing that we don't want to do for last and we procrastinate about it, versus if it's something that we're looking forward to, that we're passionate about, like we wake up differently, we show up differently, and we just kind of move in power. So I thought that statement was on it. Like that was a good statement.
Sean, what are your thoughts?
See, I'd say it again. You definitely got to get Bill on this call as well. He's a great resources. Yeah, it's just that, and I think it implies that what I had said earlier. It's just that when you doing any type of work and you're loving what you're doing, that's what's the driving force. And then especially just like how Dr. Halida had mentioned that as far as asking the question, how can you make yourself a valuable and useful person? I mean, if you're transparent and come with some honesty and actually, when somebody puts something in front of you and you come back with results, I mean, that's how you become a valuable person. And I kind of look at that as far as even with the new job that I'm taking, that with the city of Baltimore, there's always been some challenges as far as in challenges beyond, challenges, whether it may be minor or major, as far as with, from particularly Black contractors getting paid as far as from contracts from prime contractors. And I know that I've always been very, as far as when I was with the state, making sure that these minority and these Black contractors that they have livelihoods. I mean, when they don't get paid, for months, you're talking about, I mean, electricity getting cut off, water bills getting a certain level, not being able to keep their kids in school or transport, a lot of different things, and we have to be mindful of that. So my thing is coming in and bringing my ideas and my experience and starting that change and that's how I can make myself valuable when they know that, that results happen as far as for me being in this position, and whether being, like I said, professionally or even on the community level. Things need to happen. Just like Miss Sarah said, we have done a disservice as far as not recognizing our seniors and women and so forth, as far as not only protecting them, but as far as just providing resources and being, just the key as far as for them and all of us living better lives. So it's just that we just have to come in with some results and really work hard at it.
Sean, while we're while you've got your mic unmuted there, this is geared predominantly toward young Titans. Most of them have just graduated from college or just beginning their career. But for those that are just graduating, there are those that maybe haven't landed a job yet, maybe not sure, even though they've got a degree, they're not sure what they want to do. What are your words of wisdom for these young Titans that maybe passion may be something they should look at?
Right. Well, I always say that even though if they're sort of in that little rut right now as far as not finding an opportunity, or at least the right opportunity. And of course, now we're everybody's inexperienced when it comes to dealing with this COVID. So everybody's having their challenges going through that. But I also would say that, don't be afraid as far as taking an internship, that could build your capacity and build your experience up, or take, I know that sometimes, some are really gung ho and they may have that opportunity right in front of them, but don't see the long term opportunity because they're just looking at probably the money aspect. Sometimes you may have to take a cutback in order to really move further. But I would say never disengage or never turn your back on an opportunity that could lead you to the actual job and opportunity that you're looking for. But I would say that sometimes you may have to redirect or may have to put your passion or to the side for a short term, but then eventually refocus that. But what's been beneficial for me is like just how I've approached and walked into this particular position. I've established a 30, 60, 90-day plan. But as far as my career, set some short-term goals as far as what you want to accomplish within 2 years, and then 5 years, and then maybe overall in 10 years. Start hitting those marks and just be consistent with them, because that's all it's about. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But be consistent with it and make sure that you at least, start chopping off, a piece at a time to really get where you want to go.
You mentioned one thing there that I'm a firm advocate of. You mentioned an internship. Now, I had an executive search firm for many years. I worked with upper level executives. As Zig Ziglar said, they paid me great big old fees for what I did. But I quite often was asked to help young college students as they were graduating. And I preferred to talk with them before they graduated, because I would encourage all of them to get an internship if they could. I have yet to ever see a student that took an internship in an area that interested them, if they put their heart into it, didn't end up with a career offer when they graduated. Mimi, what do you think about what we've just been discussing here?
It hit home. I mentioned earlier how I had several internships, and one in particular showed me that's not the direction I wanted to go. The other thoughts that I had was doing, something temporarily for your livelihood and to, support yourself, but don't lose sight of what your passion is. Don't lose sight of it. You can do something temporarily to support yourself. At the same time, work on what it is that you're passionate about. Connecting with an internship or something part-time, or just even educating yourself, that's going to help to fuel that passion while you're doing, the necessary things to live and support yourself at the same time. I've had to make those sacrifices, especially in college, working little part-time jobs, here and there. And just don't be discouraged. We've all have been there at some point. My college and my education, it didn't take me down the path that I thought, but it definitely assisted in the business that I have. And I've used like all those skills from, my education, my experiences, my internships, all of those things. But just don't lose sight of the passion, fuel that while you're doing what you have to do at the same time.
So Glenn,
That's awesome.
in the interest of time, and Mimi, thank you for your input, and Glenn, that was an awesome, interesting conversation, and the questions that you have coached us through. So that's thank you very much. Didn't mean to cut you off, anybody, but we're actually a few minutes over, and we can go for some time. I see that because it becomes more and more interesting, and we get some good questions and comments also. In fact, there are some more good comments that came in, but just since we are out of time, what I can only say is that so it is true, and the comments also similarly, as we see that there are people who are willing to work together or willing to devote towards our community or build up this society properly, and would like to help the future leaders also. We just have to come together, find a way to do that. That's my understanding of it. So there are more good people than bad people. That's what they always say. And but at the same time, I just wanted to thank everybody. Ron, I know you're having some bandwidth issue or something, so we didn't hear you today, but I'm sure, and thank you for your support for being here, and definitely would like to hear you at some point later. But wanted to let all of you know that I hope that this conversation elated you and inspired you at least some, from when you started and by the time we ended, because there was lots of nuggets, lots of inspiration, lots of things that we can learn and implement in our lives from what we just learned and heard. But thank you for whoever is listening to us online live, and whoever sharing it later or listening to it later. And we will see you in 2 weeks again in this platform, same here with a different speaker. But thank you, Sean and Mimi, especially for being here and sharing your knowledge and the inspiration. And Glenn, Ron, Dr. Hamida, absolutely, you guys are all, definitely my mentors and helpers. So we'll see you later. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoyed. Sheen and Mimi, it was very enjoyable. Yeah, I loved it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, John.